Hello, I'm Zuz. I never complained. When I was younger at school, and we'd have the same lesson about the history of Muslim scientists, I used to find it very strange. There were so many specialties that were both in the sciences and the humanities, because it's not a very common thing now. If you're a scientist or a doctor, you could be interested in philosophy and history, but you're not a philosopher and a historian yourself. You don't write books that help establish these other fields. So what happened since then, the Abbasid era, and now? That maths and applied sciences became the most important, the more reasonable, or realistically speaking, you could use to make a living with the Industrial Revolution. We have a uniform system, 12 years. You go to school, you get experience that prepares you for a work environment that's focused on production and helps build the economy and so on. This system of education does not necessarily produce educated people. It's people who work, working hands. Is poetry going to help you get employed at a factory? No. Is the history of an extinct language going to help you dig for oil? No. So it's not practical. We live in a world that has divided knowledge and existence into a binary system in order to serve capitalism. There are sciences and there are arts. There's a mind and there's a heart. There's day and night. There's man and woman, white, black. And according to this binary, we've divided the world and the way that we understand it. Therefore, the language that we use, the spaces in which we live, our days and our weeks and our years, what are they all based on? Nothing in science and in scientific fields just exists as is. They're all attempts to understand the world through our point of view, the tools that we have, even the way our bodies are shaped, our eyes, our fingers, the way our bodies are built, are all tools in categorizing, calculating, and understanding the world. So in order to criticize any system productively, we have to ask who put it there, who built it, with what tools, who calculated it, and for what purpose, and whom is it there to serve. The capitalist system, on whose body is it based on? A system that's based on profit and building, regardless of the availability of resources and their sustainability. That's based on spreading, on franchising, so that even if it had to, it would interfere and change aspects of different cultures so that the branches of any industry would plant itself in a new place and flag it. Capitalism is a binary system, and it does not allow for gray areas. It's a system that cares about production, not recycling. It cares about control and not empowering. It is a masculine patriarchal system in its behavior, in its movement, and its acquiring of more and more and more. Even when we see this theater of empowering women through the capitalist system, it's always phrases like, women can do whatever they want. She could be a businesswoman, a head of industry, an astronaut, a president. And she wears a suit with really big shoulder pads. Girl boss. When in reality, women should just have as many options as everyone else does. Anyone who has choices and the freedom to choose, just as others have the freedom to choose. You want to be a leader of industry? Okay. You want to be a housewife? Okay. You want to be a college professor, but you want to be known for baking the best cake? Sure, that's nice. Why is there this threat that all women want to be bosses? And if you don't want to be a boss, it means you're not a feminist, and that all women are going to replace all men at their jobs. It has nothing to do with it. It's not personal. Feminism isn't winning in the already established system. The goal here is to criticize the system. We have examples from current times of women that did indeed succeed in the system. They made their own market, but they didn't change anything in the already existing system. It's still a system that's based on silencing minority voices. It's still a system that pushes for expansion, imperialism. It's still the same system that uses the theatrics of empowering women and distracts us from the main force for this type of success, which is building on the backs of others. And just as feminism can be adopted by any intelligent, confident, and aware man, likewise, it's possible for a woman to adopt patriarchal logic and excel in it, in acquiring and expanding and production, etc. All of these logos are used to build facades. We have to always be vigilant and pay attention to who's making the most profit out of any system and at whose expense. When I say that capitalism is patriarchal, this is exactly what I'm trying to say. Usually when a woman climbs up the professional ladder, she gains a kind of patriarchal language because she's not going to be accepted as a successful person in her field unless she spoke that language fluently. If she condones this system and help build it without looking at it critically, any person who wants to be great in their field needs to excel in it. But if that person belongs to a minority, they have to be the best in the history of that field. You want to enter the world of men, you will only be accepted when you are worthy of 1,000 men, which is true. You'd have to be as good as 1,000 human beings. Aside from the fact that this being considered a compliment is an indicator of our tools of measurement and evaluation and acceptance in the system, 1,000 men. So when a person calls themselves feminist, but their understanding of feminism is to excel in a capitalist system, we just went back to square one. This is not women empowerment. This is a disgusting flattening of a revolutionary movement that aims at changing a system that exhausts and drains 90% of the people working in it. Being a feminist is being against the silencing of all minority voices. It's against production that's bad for the environment, anti-imperialist, and military expansion. It's not phrases on a t-shirt, and it's not hashtags. It is a critical eye to the system that we live in. It's knowing your place and the amount of strength that you have in the system that you're born in. These are principles you remind yourself of every day. It's how you eat and drink, how you take care of your kids, and and how aware you are of your role in building it. How you walk down the street and take in your environment. How you read history. How you're aware of the tools that you use to understand the world that you live in. Thank you. Shh. Smell.